When you don't feel like praying harder. There are moments in life when prayer feels easy, when your heart is light, when your mind is calm, when you feel close to God, and then there are moments when prayer feels heavy. You kneel down and your thoughts scatter. You try to speak, but your words feel empty. You open your mouth and silence comes out. Those are the moments we are most tempted to stop praying, not because God is far, but because the battle is near. Listen to this carefully. If you don't feel like praying, force it, not because God is angry with you, but because something else is fighting you. There is a reason your spirit feels tired. There is a reason your desire to pray feels weak. There is a reason distractions suddenly become loud when you try to talk to God. Because prayer is not just communication, prayer is warfare. And the enemy does not fight what is useless. He fights what is powerful. Some of you listening right now used to pray easily. You used to wake up with fire in your heart. You used to feel joy in God's presence. You used to talk to Him like a friend. But now, prayer feels like work. Not because you lost faith, but because life wounded you. Pain has a way of stealing our breath. Grief has a way of silencing our praise. Disappointment has a way of numbing our spirit. You still believe, but you are tired. And when you are tired, the enemy whispers, "Not today. You can pray later." God already knows. You're too weak right now. You don't feel it, so don't fake it. But hear this truth. Prayer is not powered by feelings. Prayer is powered by obedience. You don't pray because you feel strong. You pray because God is strong. You don't pray because you feel worthy. You pray because He is merciful. You don't pray because you have words. You pray because He listens. There is a mystery about prayer. The moment you stop wanting to pray is usually the moment you need it the most. Because resistance is not an excuse. Resistance is a signal. It means something is happening in the unseen realm. It means something is shifting. It means something is trying to stop you before you receive strength. When prayer feels hardest, it matters most. Not the loud prayer, not the long prayer, not the perfect prayer, but the stubborn prayer. The prayer that says, "God, I don't feel you, but I still choose you. God, I don't understand, but I still trust you. God, I am weak, but you are still strong." That kind of prayer moves heaven. Some of you are not struggling because you are faithless. You are struggling because you are dangerous. The enemy doesn't fight empty souls. He fights praying souls. He doesn't fear your talent. He fears your knees on the ground. He doesn't fear your words. He fears your faith. That is why the battle starts before the prayer begins. Distraction, doubt, fatigue, fear, shame, anything to keep you silent, because silence is His victory. But even a broken prayer is stronger than no prayer. Even a whispered Jesus is louder than despair. Even tears without words are heard in heaven. Let me tell you something. Holy God is not waiting for you to sound spiritual. He is waiting for you to be honest. You don't have to come clean. You come as you are. Messy prayers still rise. Weak prayers still reach. Tired prayers still touch God's heart. The Bible does not say pray when you feel like it. It says pray without ceasing. That means when you feel strong, and when you feel broken, when you are happy, and when you are numb, when you believe, and when you are confused. Because prayer is not about mood, it is about connection. And connection is what keeps you alive. Some of you right now are in the quietest season of your faith. You don't feel God. You don't hear God. You don't sense God. But that does not mean God is absent. It means God is teaching you to walk by faith and not by feeling. Faith is not the fire. Faith is the decision to stay when the fire goes out. Faith is saying, "I will pray anyway." Even when heaven feels silent, even when answers delay, even when pain remains. Because prayer is not just asking for change. Prayer is allowing God to change you. Listen closely. When you don't pray, you don't become neutral. You become vulnerable. Because prayer is armor. It guards your mind. It strengthens your heart. It sharpens your spirit. Without prayer, fear grows louder. Temptation grows stronger. Hope grows weaker. That's why the enemy doesn't say don't believe. He says don't pray, because a prayerless believer is a powerless believer. But a praying believer is never alone. There are some prayers you must pray with discipline, not emotion, like brushing your teeth, like eating food, like breathing air. You don't wait to feel like it. You do it because you need it. And prayer is not decoration. Prayer is survival. Some of you are not failing spiritually because God left you. You are failing because prayer left you. But today, God is calling you back, not to perfection, to persistence, not to performance, to presence, not to religion, to relationship. Maybe your prayer today is only one sentence, God help me. That is enough. Maybe your prayer today is only tears. That is enough. Maybe your prayer today is silence. That is enough. Because heaven understands the language of the heart. God hears what pain cannot say. I want to speak to the one who feels spiritually dry. You open your Bible and it feels empty. You try to worship and it feels forced. You kneel down and your mind runs away. Hear me, dry ground is where roots grow deepest. God is not punishing you. God is training you. Training you to pray not for feelings, but for faith. Training you to trust not the atmosphere, but the promise. Because when storms come, feelings collapse. But faith stands. And now, I want you to imagine something. What if the reason you don't feel like praying is because a breakthrough is close? What if the heaviness is the last wall before freedom? What if the silence is the space where God is working? What if your hardest prayer is your most powerful one? Not the prayer that feels good, but the prayer that refuses to quit. Not the prayer with music, but the prayer with struggle. Not the prayer in church, but the prayer in the dark room when nobody sees you. That prayer moves mountains. That prayer breaks chains. That prayer shakes hell. So today, don't wait to feel holy. Pray tired. Pray broken. Pray confused. Pray afraid. Because prayer is not about sounding strong. It is about leaning on God's strength. When you don't feel like praying, force it. Not in anger, not in guilt, but in faith. Because something is trying to stop you. And anything that tries to stop your prayer is afraid of what happens when you pray. Let me end like this. One day you will look back and realize the season when prayer was hardest was the season God was closest. The nights you felt weakest were the nights He held you strongest. The silver moon illuminated him. It was preparation. So pray it again. Not because life is easy, but because God is faithful. Not because you feel strong, but because He is strong. Not because the storm is gone, but because He walks on storms. Pray when you feel like it, and pray when you don't. Because prayer is not a feeling. Prayer is a lifeline.